We've had a pretty good bit of questions about importing VSPro into Arborist and how it's actually done and how it works and how everything's converted. Uh, I do not have any VSPro planted courses. So John Meyer jumped in and did a great video that we're going to go to in just a second. There's a few things that I wanted to address that he covers, but he kind of goes through really quickly. So when all of this VS Pro gets imported, it does import your biome mask. He didn't really touch on it. You could kind of see it when he clicks around, but he didn't really talk about it. But it does import the mask. So you will have all of your VS Pro mask in the same place as Arborist mask. The other thing that he talks about is when you import the stuff into Arborist, you have to go back into Unity and uncheck the VS Pro. The reason for that is you will end up with double trees everywhere if you do not do that, because it's going to come in on the VS Pro end and on the Arborist end. And then at the very end, once you get everything like you want it, so you're satisfied with all of the trees that you've swapped out, you're satisfied that all of your VS Pro stuff is in Arborist now, and you can control it within Arborist, you want to go back to Unity at the very end. Now, he talks about on the first of this video, he talks about creating a backup. So I'm talking about on your original, not the backup. Keep the backup like it is. But in the original, you're going to go back in and you're actually going to delete out all of the VS Pro in your hierarchy. And that'll keep your file size a little bit smaller. It'll make sure that there's no mix up on what trees you're going to get planted. So that's a little intro. And now on to John Meyer for the bulk of the video.
Quick little jump at it in here. Just as we're now going to be ultimately modifying our scene and end up probably deleting our game object trees from here, deleting VS Pro from here in the long run, it's best to have a backup of your original scene. So I'd come up before you even start anything, come up to a file, save scene as, and then just save it as whatever your scene was. VS Pro, you can call it whatever, that's just what I'm going to call it as. Click save, and then at least you've got a backup of exactly how it was before you started doing your swap to arborist. You'll see when you do a save as, it does swap over to that scene. So you want to swap back to your original. So, back in your original scene. And this is the one then you can work in, and it'll, at least then you've always got something to go back to in case it all goes wrong. So, yep, we'll carry on from where we were. Okay, so this is going to be a quick as I can video about converting VS Pro planted and also some hand planted trees into arborist. So I'm using this Hidden Haven course I recently took from base project 23 through to like the latest build tools using the update package and stuff. I've got a separate video on that. But this one I'm now going to convert it into arborist. You can see we've got a VS Pro planting, which has got quite a few biomes, 6 biomes. We've got a default biome, we've got all sorts in there. And some just a small array of individually planted stuff. Just I'll try and import that as well. So let's open this up. So I've built it out into this folder, and it's just I haven't done a GKD or anything like that yet. It's just not been done. So I'll open up Arborist and we'll crack on. So Arborist, this is the one I'm using. This is the latest at the time of recording. So we'll load her up. Oops. And we'll load this 2025 GSP course file, and we'll see what we've got. So that's the course loaded in. Let's just move my recorder thing out of the way. You can see it's pretty much the same as we've got in Unity. It should be. We've got some Unity still open. So yeah, it's this scene. I'll try and get to the same sort of point. The colours on this weren't amazing in the first place, really. I did do some post-processing adjustments and stuff inside of Unity when I when I upgraded the package, so the colours actually aren't as good as they sort of should be, really. You see my billboards weren't great. The overall colouring probably isn't the best either, to be fair. Let's make that a little bit faster. So yeah, that's roughly where we are. This sort of place here. So first things first, we're going to look to replace our VSPro planting. So we come up to the top menu, and if we go into the arborist menu and then import vegetation, and you can see we've got some various options in here. So we've got game objects, terrain trees, terrain grasses, existing VSPro, and swap vegetation. So I'm going to go existing VSPro. What I will do before that, I think, is I'll just, actually no, I'll do it like this. I go existing VSPro, and then you click the load button, and it finds all the stuff that you've got in your VSPro, and then these are what it's going to replace them with as arborist assets. So you can see some of these, it's found a very suitable direct replacement. So O26 is replaced with O26 grass clump. If you click on these little radial buttons, it will open the replacer window, and you can then select what it is. So it's going to replace it with that, which obviously is exactly the same. So those ones all look fine. If it can't quite always find exactly what you've got. So similarly here on this outer trees biome, I'm using an American elm desktop. I can have a search for elm, and it's called the S7 American elm in Arborist. It's the same size. So you get your height scale, so you can see what you replace is going to be roughly the same size. You can somewhat ignore the sort of colouring and stuff like that, because it's captured differently, and you'll adjust anyway. But yeah, so pick the one you want, click on it. Once in that window, click select, and you'll notice it's replaced in there. And so some of these you'll find you've probably got in Arborist. So got a black gum. This one's slightly smaller. I must have modified it, but we can modify that in the size afterwards. We'll select that one. Now here we've got one, Alaska Cedar Desktop. I don't think we've got this. I doubt we have. No, so we haven't. So you then have to look at picking an alternative. So you can go by style or try and get something similar in height. That's more like a furry kind of tree. Maybe an oak. It's too small. You can use the wrong sort of type of thing. It's a bit big. It's a bit big. You just have to go through and pick out. And that's very big, but it's the right sort of type. This was more of a cedar. That's a poplar, it's not quite the same. What we got here? Sort of similar-ish. It's not bad. Yeah, I'll go for something like that. It's a little bit smaller, it'll be fine. So, and then you just pick them. So what I'll do is I'll pause and I'll go through and I'll replace all the ones that need replacing. So let's do that now. Slightly interesting one here is this European white birch. So I put in birch here, and you can see we've got, this is a European white birch, but it's obviously very different. Whereas the white birch fall is arguably more the same. So, but it's a fall one, but I'll show you, you can look at changing the colours on that. So I'm going to select that one. This, even though it's a fall and I didn't have a fall, we can look at colour swapping that. So yeah, I'll just finish the rest of these off. Okay, so that's them all replaced with ones that I'm happy with. They're close enough where I'll edit them away. So once you've done that, come up and click Save Data. And you're going to save and down, it'll take a little while. Yeah, so changes will take effect at next arborist restart. We go OK, so that, and we will always generally go exit. Oh no, where's the save button? I haven't got a save button, so I just need to restart. So I'll exit that. And then at this point, now you've got your arborist file saved, what I'd advise doing is, I don't know if you can turn the existing VSPro planting off or not. Come in here and disable your VSPro. You need to delete it at this stage. But then I'd rebuild the course out. So you've now got no VSPro planting in your course. So we'll build that out again. I'll just pause while it builds. Okay, so that's finished building. So now we can reopen up our arborist. So we're going to load our course. We'll load this, it's just been rebuilt. So now we've not got VSPro on, all the planting in here will be arborist planting, apart from those hand planted trees. You can see from when we saved it before, we've got a post-processing DAT, because on this version it automatically saves that, an arborist DAT and a version. So we'll load this up, and hopefully now you can see we've now got an arborist version of our course. So you'll see we've got some colour differences and things to sort out. Oh, you can't really see it. We can turn this back on now. Because obviously we changed some of the trees and bits and bobs like that. But in general, it's all pretty much there. And where we had the trees that were the same, they are the same. So then you'd be looking at trying to fix colours and things like that. Now, an obvious one, we can come in here. Whoops. What button? Obvious one we need to do is this birch. So it was this white one, and it's now a yellow one. So if we come in here, and this is my foliage import biome, and we chose the fall one if you recall. So then it's just a matter of coming in under our shader settings, and we can look to get more of a green one. I'd probably like that a bit yellower than that. Something like that. And check our billboards. It's not the prettiest billboard. It's probably good enough. Yeah, so that was a big colour change. What were these things here? Oh, that was a changeover. That was I changed it for that Stuart thing. Yeah, so this is where I had the that Alaska cedar. I've changed it for these Stuarty ones, whatever they were called. It's not a million miles off, to be fair. But again, don't know which biome this is in. And again, you can right click and then look to change this. I'll probably change it slightly. It's a bit darker like that. And you can see that's how you go about sort of fixing your colours and bits and bobs like that. And you've got it, and then you're just tweaking like you would do any other arborist course. So the other thing you could look to bring in are the these hand planted ones. Now, obviously, I haven't got many, so I probably wouldn't bother, to be fair. But just to demonstrate how the tool works, let's look at our biomes. Currently got all these biomes as they came exactly as they did from my VS Pro. I think, if I remember correctly, we can do this. So we now go import vegetation. Then this time we're looking to, rather than going existing VS Pro, we're looking to do game objects. The terrain setting doesn't actually matter because we don't need it. And then in here we want the name of the, you see, the parent that holds them all. So if you've got lots of trees all dotted around the place, so let's just add another one. So we've got this American elm somewhere. I've got a few. So there's an American elm there. I've got them dotted about various places. Yeah, you want to make sure they're all under the same parent, basically. So they're under this individual trees non-VSP. I'm just going to copy and paste that from here. So Control C on there, Control V on there, and then click load again. You can see it brings them all in. If you combine, click this combine same. I think it will, yeah, it will group them all together. So you see I had to click reload there. So if you click load, see there's like 3 hedge mobiles, blah blah blah. You combine same, it brings it down. Just the mod just makes it easier to replace. It'll replace them as all the same. Now you might not want to do that, but I am going to. So similar thing. Open up your so it's a slightly different one, so I'm going to modify that. Select hedge, and again we'll just pause while we go through this. So looking at this American elm desktop bear, I haven't really got anything suitable. I could put a sassafras bear and it'll scale it. You can untick something, so we're not going to do that. I'm going to leave that one, and these other ones I will just change for, select that again, done, grass. And I can't remember exactly, I just need to put what biome it goes into. Can't remember, but we'll click it and try it. So we'll then go import. And that's now replaced it. Tree generated parent folder, which I think it means that one. You should rebuild it with the project disabled. So we'll close that. You can see we've now got these. So if I will now do, so this is the original trees. And these are the ones it's replaced it with. You can see it's not showing that bare one because we didn't import it. So now I will come back into here, and then we'll go save vegetation, and we'll exit arborist. Then back into unit in here. Now what you would do now is you'd in theory rebuild it with those disabled or deleted. And then I'm going to keep this desktop bare. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to leave that there. So I will be left with a single game object tree because I couldn't find an alternative for that bear. So let's save that. Build the course out again. So I'll pause while it does that. Okay, so that's built out. So now if we open up Arborist again, okay, so we'll load this back up. This has been rebuilt where I've now got VSPro disabled and my game object trees disabled, as it were, apart from that one bear one. I'll just pause while it loads. Alright, so that's loading. You can see we've got our bear one now is back in there from it's just in there as a standalone game object, and all this stuff is all then VS Pro planted. So we can right click, and it's actually gone into our dual trees non-VSP. It's gone into imported game object trees. So these are the ones I had before. I was called individual trees non-VSP. This is done as dual. I must shorten the name. You can see in here we've got the various things that we added in. We do that elm has gone in from a different biome, which it must have been originally. And again, you can look to then change the colours of things. So this was much different. Bring that down to turn there. And these are interesting. These were purple, I believe, in the VSPro one. Turn these back on in here. Wasn't very well coloured in the first place. But yeah, that's what they looked like before. See, it's got a slightly different hedge, but it has kept the scaling and stuff. So here we'd look to then change our colours. More red than that. Something like that anyway. You can see that's what you do, and you start going around adjusting everything. Like this one here. If I can find this. Oh, there it is. This American elm is very light. Like that. Yeah, and that's you've now got a course here which is pretty much converted to arborist, where you'd go around and you'd fix it all and fix all your colours and your billboards and all that good sort of stuff. Um, Another thing here, just while we've got it open, is then you could look to then, now you've got your trees in, you've got your colours right, you can then look to adjust your post-processing in here and set so my post-processing to be a little bit darker perhaps, and maybe yeah, something like that. That looks a bit nicer. And then remember to always export, and then come into here, tools, post-processing. Select your folder where the course is in, so it's the header folder, so it's just in the courses folder, and import that. Export it in, so this should now all match. And yeah, and that's about it. This course is now an arborist course. Click that. And you just go around and fix it all and get it all how you want it. See, we've got lots of billboards to adjust, lots of work to do to get it all right. What was an interesting one, I believe these were low poly elms before, so my performance is now going to suffer. So in my original course, all of these out here were sure what it's called, like elm low poly surrounds. Oh yeah, this one. This American elm low poly. Yeah, I just had. Basically, I turned the lod levels right down. Whereas if we go in here, surrounds, we haven't quite got that, you see. and that's going to be slightly harder to replicate. So I can turn this right down here and you get very similar, which is what I did on the other one really. So yeah, that's the basic gist of it. You've now converted this course to an arborist course. You'd have to fix lots of stuff, no doubt. Sort your colours out, make sure your models match, sort your billboards out, all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, that is basically importing um, your VS Pro and game object trees into arborist, and you end up with all your biomes from VS Pro, and then a separate biome for your dual or individual trees non-VSP as it was. And that is, whoops, save that, and that is it. So I hope that's useful. That's how it works. Any problems? Ask all arms. Enjoy.